reconstruction of the Phillipsburg Marketplace has consistently remained a top priority for the ministry. And over the past months, we have worked closely with our partners, including the Royal Caribbean Group, to finalize the design of the new facility. As part of this process, final design adjustments were made to ensure the marketplace meets the highest standards expected by the Royal Caribbean's guests and many residents and visitors who will use these facilities soon. This adjustment has now been completed and formally accepted by the Royal Caribbean and making an important milestone in moving the project forward. On October 27th, a meeting was held with the marketplace vendors to provide them with an update and to announce that after close consultation with the Ministry of TIAT and our legal team, we were able to find a workable solution to waive the 2024-2025 vending fees. This decision was made to support those vendors and solely those vendors directly affected by the relocation during the reconstruction. So not the vendors behind the courthouse, but those that had to leave from the main construction site itself. So for now, I want to assure the public that the project is firmly on track and that this government remains committed to delivering a modern, resilient, and functional marketplace for our people.
SER seeks to also a timely appointment of the board for the term 2026-2029. As I mentioned, the SER will be celebrating its 15 years of existence in 2026, and it would be amiss that we do not get this piece of legislation passed to ensure the continuity of this crucial organization for the country. In closing, Madam Chair Lady, I would like to emphasize the importance of the work done by the SER, its commitment as a board, as an institution to the country and to the people, and its desire to continue to function in the aspect in which it was legislated.
Introduction to the annual report of 2024 of the Social Economic Council of St. Martin. Members of I see, Mr. Duran, you had something to add before I would give the floor over?
I think it's important, as I mentioned, during the period of 2024 and also the inception of the SER has submitted and completed 63 advices, as I mentioned, 13 unsolicited and 50 solicited advices. But I think it's important that we give an indication or overview of the advices that SER has completed within this term, and specifically 2024, and the pending advices. So for 2024, Madam Chair Lady, due to the impasse, there were the SER as a body was unable to provide the necessary advices to government and Parliament based on the request. However, I would like to highlight also the aspect of the delay in the receiving the decree for myself as chairman also caused a delay in the SER's ability. However, nonetheless, I would like to give a synopsis or indication of the draft advices that was provided during the course of this year, because I think it's important for us to highlight that the SER, despite the challenges, continue to work. One of the 6 advices that has been completed and submitted are the letter of advice regarding amendment of the National Decree Passenger Transport that was received from the Minister of Tourism Economic Affairs, the letter of advice to conduct research on the Early Childhood Development Funding Model submitted by the Minister of Education, letter of advice, National Ordinance Visitors Tax and National Ordinance Preparedness and Resilience Resource Public Health and Tourism, submitted by the Minister of Social Development and Health, Mr. Reginald Brugge, Minister Brugge. The letter of advice draft initiative national ordinance amending Article 3, first paragraph under 1 national ordinance admittance and expulsion. That was submitted by the faction of the United People's Party, submitted by the Member of Parliament, Omar Otley. The letter of advice on the National Ordinance of Sustainable, Affordable, Accessible Healthcare Act, also known as the SAHA, submitted also by the Minister of VSA, and the letter of advice on the draft national decree of the SAHA. Those were the advices provided by the SER to the respective ministers and members of parliament that requested such. I would like to then culminate with the current advices that are pending, the SER's handling. That is one, the draft national ordinance amending the national ordinance on admission and expulsion in connection with the expansion of categories of persons eligible for admission by operation of law. That was submitted and received by the Member of Parliament, Shamira Rosberg. The draft initiative national ordinance amending the national ordinance regulating foreign labor, submitted also by the faction of the United People's Party, submitted by the Member of Parliament, Omar Otley, and the pending solicited advice received from government is as follows. The letter of advice amendment of Book 7, Title 10 of the Civil Code, temporary labor contracts, submitted by the Minister of VSA. And this was received, I must say, received from the Minister of VSA, then Minister Omar Otley in 2023. The advice for request to conduct a study and establishment of a new poverty line for St. Martin, submitted by the Minister of VSA, Honorable Minister Brugge. The letter of advice to conduct independent assessment of the social economic impact of Soul Beach Music Festival 2025, submitted by the Minister of Tourism and Economic Affairs, the Honorable Grisha Heiliger Martin. The letter of advice related to the national decree containing general measures aimed at adjusting the current financial aid scheme in alignment with the existing practices, formerly referred to as the Landsbesluit onhoudend algemene maatregelen tot wijziging van het uitvoeringsbesluit financiële bijstand ten einde de huidige uitvoeringspraktijk te codificeren. That was received from the Minister of VSA. And finally, Madam Chair, the advice request to review the draft legislation concerning the indexation of the AOV, AWW, AWW in relation to the national decree containing general measures concerning the changes to Article 7, Paragraph 1, 7A, Paragraph 1, and 26, Paragraph 3 to 5, from the Minister of Public Health and Social Development, Minister Brugge. Thank you.
Are you SXM insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXM is cardless. Request your My SXM account today and enter the virtual office of SXM. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXM, yeah. Your social and health insurances.
24/7 TV programming on www.stmartinmediacenter.com, SXM Daily News, PBS NewsHour, Now You Know, comm programs, documentary, entertainment, sports events, Saturday children's hours, religion programs, and movies. Click on SXM TV broadcast to see your favorite programs.
St. Martin, as heavy rain falls across our region, we urge all residents and visitors to exercise caution and stay alert. Here are the areas prone to street flooding, flash floods, and/or rock slides. Avoid these locations until water levels subside. Atieladge Road Roundabout, Cul-de-Sac. Arch Road, Sucker Garden. Beacon Hill Road, Simpson Bay. Atieladge Road, Border Monument, Belvedere, Lower Princess Quarter. Billy Folly Road, Cole Bay. Emma Plain, Phillipsburg. L.B. Scott Road, Cul-de-Sac. Rhine Road, Lowlands. Welhelican Road, Low K Roundabout, Cahill, Little Bay. Well Road, Wellington Road, and Orange Grove Road, Cole Bay. Yancho Rousquin Boulevard, Point Blanche, and Sakersgut Road, Cul-de-Sac. Remember, safety comes first. Let's work together to keep our community safe. This public service announcement is brought to you by the Department of Communication.
I don't see, we in 2025, right now we're going over to as a parliament, we're talking about AI now. So even more digital than before. So it cannot be that we as a government and the parliament, we are going in one rifting direction, and then the central bank says, oh no, we don't want to get there yet. And based on their, if any of the other members read the response of central bank, they're also basically saying, no, let the market fix it. It's been 15 years, the market hasn't fixed it yet. I'm pretty sure people are still complaining every day about PayPal and their banks and so forth. So if the position of the bank is let them fix it, that means we're going to be here again for the next 10 years. Our job as members of parliament and the government is to address the laws that our people are complaining about. These are not drastic laws, no, but these are laws that make them work. These are laws that make the banks stop being lazy.
As envisioned, mirrors the essential services according to what the explanation just given that are currently afforded to the personal bankers, right? However, as we've observed over time, the financial model, Mr. Chairman, of the banks evolve. And oftentimes that includes increased fees or new fees. Now, one could already question the fairness of that, but that's perhaps a conversation for another day. Nonetheless, it raises an important consideration. If certain banks already charge business customers for the use of online banking, what happens if in the future, if or when in the future, the financial model of the banks evolve to a point where personal bankers are being charged for online banking? What would that mean for those basic bank accounts at that time if the law mimics for personal banking what happens for basic banking, what happens on the personal side? Because, Mr. Chairman, I think you would agree with me as well, if we are now making a law, and the law right now mimics basically the current scenario where personal bankers are not being charged, we can't make a law that in a couple of years potentially is already outdated. And when I say outdated, the reasoning behind the basic bank account would be not to have as much services, charges for the basic bank account as it has right now for the potentially for the personal ones. So if we're going to make this thing future-proof, as MP further already elaborated, we've been busy with this since 2023. I don't think we should leave it up to things as is, waiting for it if or when it evolves or changes to see what we're going to do with the law. If we could make things and put provisions in the law from now that already makes it impossible for those charges to be levied in the future, I think that's something we should deal with now and not potentially later. And lastly, Mr. Chair, the minister also mentioned legislations would be coming concerning other topics with banking. I would like to know what is the timeline and how many legislations can we expect? Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, thank you for the opportunity to respond to the question posed by MP Arian, or the clarification posed by MP Arian. Based on what was received by the central bank, that was a decision taken by the government to then provide the note of unwising. I hope that answers the question.
Do I understand the minister to say, because I think we're kind of getting caught up in unnecessary back and forth here. So do I understand the minister to say that from the central bank, she learned, the minister, through you, Mr. Chairman, that that matter was corrected in the law that was passed for Curacao, and hence it was only a natural consequence for St. Martin to do it? Through you, Mr. Chairman, I'm asking if I'm understanding it right, or thank you.
To answer the question or clarification posed by MP Westcott, she is indeed correct with her thought process. I now move on to questions posed by MP Westcott. Concerning the practical application of the law, is it the intention of the law for withdrawals abroad to be possible or not? Through you, Mr. Chair, the basic bank account is designed to be used exclusively for transactions within the monetary union and Curacao and St. Martin, my apologies. The intent of the law is therefore not to permit withdrawals or transactions outside of St. Martin and Curacao. However, in practice, depending on the type of card issued by the bank, it may not always be technically feasible to completely block such foreign transactions. To clarify, while the intention of the law is to restrict use within the monetary union, in practice, some foreign transactions may still be technically possible.
Of course, because as we approach St. Martin Day, I want to pause and speak not only as Minister of Justice, but also as a proud citizen of this country. St. Martin Day is a reminder of who we are, where we come from, and the values that have carried us through difficult times, resilience, unity, and of course, our national pride. And every November 11th, we reflect on what makes this shared island so special. It's two nations, one people, bound by history, family, and a deep love for our home. And this year's message of unity feels especially meaningful. Across every sector, from government and civil society to businesses and communities, we see people working together to improve systems, to protect what matters most, and to ensure that progress continues, even when it's hard. St. Martin's Day reminds us that the strength of this nation does not rest in one ministry or one person, but in the collective, and of all its people to keep moving forward together. In that spirit of progress, I'm proud to share that last week we launched a Detection Sector Reform Program, a milestone initiative in partnership with BZK, NRPB, UNOPS, and UNODC. This program marks a new chapter in our justice reform journey, one that's rooted in structure, accountability, and humanity. It is not just about building new facilities, it's about building a better system, a system that rehabilitates, restores dignity while ensuring safety, and that gives those within it a genuine chance to return to society as contributing members. This kind of reform doesn't happen overnight. It requires commitment, collaboration, and the courage to do things differently. And I want to thank everyone who made that launch possible, from our Justice Chain partners to our international collaborators. Each step we take through the DSRP represents progress, not just for the ministry, but for the people of St. Martin as well. And those people have trusted us to serve, and we're trying to honor them through our actions. That same spirit of collaboration and progress carried through this week's Women in Justice conference that we held this past Monday, where we came together to honor the strength, resilience, and leadership of women across our justice system. I shared then, and I reaffirm now, that leadership, especially as a woman, is not about perfection, but it's about presence. It is the courage to stand tall in moments of uncertainty, to make difficult decisions with both conviction and compassion, and to bring humanity into spaces where it is often forgotten. That gathering was more than a celebration, but it was also a call to action, a call for us as women to mentor the next generation, to uplift one another,
and to ensure that women are not just represented, but that we're truly empowered to lead, to take up space, to influence policy, and to shape the systems that shape our society. The conversation shared among the women in justice reminded me that progress is never isolated to one sector or one effort. It echoes across everything that we do. And that reminder came to life again as St. Martin welcomed regional and international partners for the Regional Airline Business Improvement Conference that was hosted yesterday by our local carrier, Winair. It was the first of its kind in the region, and the conference brought together airlines, airport authorities, immigration, and customs officials, all with one shared goal: improving how our Caribbean islands connect. And I want to take this moment in the press briefing to commend Winair for its vision and initiative. Strengthening regional travel means strengthening trade, tourism, and the bonds that unite our islands. St. Martin has always been a hub, not only geographically, but in spirit, and it's through the collaborations like these that we continue to lead by example.
The call for your resignation because of the recent verdict handed down by the Court of First Instance against your husband, Theodore Heiliger. My question to you, Minister, you were vetted twice to become a minister. If my memory serves me correct, Mr. Heiliger was already imprisoned. There was a verdict. There was a settlement. I would like to know if the persons that are calling for you, including the Prime Minister, the person that heads this cabinet, if he was not aware that your husband was behind bars and that you becoming a minister may not be ethical at the time. What's the difference today from back then, Minister? And most importantly, I want to know if this is about the verdict that was recently handed down, or is this about unpopular decisions that you took while being the Minister of TIAT?
Thank you for that question. Loaded question, Bibisha. I want to let the public know that I was elected by the people of St. Martin and subsequently appointed to serve, following a comprehensive, legally mandated screening process, as you just well said. At this time of this appointment, the circumstances surrounding my husband, indeed, and my husband's legal matters, were well known and duly considered while going through the screening. So since assuming office, I have remained steadfast in my duties, serving the people of St. Martin with integrity, diligence, and full adherence to the governing accord and the laws of this country. So out of respect for due process and the independence of judiciary, I will not comment on any ongoing legal proceedings. However, I trust that the legal system will handle these matters fairly and professionally, and it is important to note that the civil case in question will be appealed. Therefore, drawing conclusions or making any assumptions at this stage would be premature. I remain fully committed to fulfilling my mandate and continuing the work entrusted to me by the people and the government of St. Martin, guided by transparency, accountability, and service to the nation. My dedication to serving this country has never wavered, regardless of my personal circumstances, and I will continue to perform my duties with the same focus and commitment that I have demonstrated day by day. So I hope that's clearly answering your question, and I look forward to the next question.
Are you SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your MySZV account today and enter the virtual office of SZV. Go to szv.sx and sign up now.
SXM, yeah, your social health insurances.
24/7 TV programming on www.stmartinmediacenter.com. SXM Daily News.
To sit down with the Grammy Award-winning singer, and he has been boots on the ground, literally. I mean, from sold-out concerts, we're seeing him in a way that we haven't seen him before. Now, Shaggy, he's known for hits like Boombastic, It Wasn't Me. He tells me he lived through Hurricane Gilbert, a Category 4 storm. So when he heard a Category 5 storm with winds of 185 miles per hour was barreling toward Jamaica, he wasted no time, and with the help of friends, mobilizing private planes, turning the capital, Kingston, into a hub to distribute life-saving aid to the hardest hit areas.
When I heard it was a Category 5, and I'm seeing, oh yeah, no one has ever seen a 5, in my mind I knew this was going to be catastrophic.
Melissa hit Jamaica on Tuesday. By Thursday, the day the airports reopened, Grammy Award-winning artist Shaggy, whose roots and love for the island run deep, was mobilizing private planes from Florida, delivering critical aid to the island's hardest hit regions. This is footage he captured in St. Elizabeth Parish, where Melissa hit the hardest, causing massive devastation and deaths.
When I'm on the ground and seeing what I see, I can't unsee it. You know, these are my people that are, homeless. They're without food, they're without shelter, they're without running water, they're without electricity.
The government has already started recovery efforts, but with miles and miles of devastation, accessing those in need is going to take time.
What we were fortunate to do is to hit it right away. And it took us 6 hours to get there. We had to chop our way through some of the roads. We walked through puddles. We drove through puddles that was this high. And we got in there.
Just landed in Jamaica.
Unsure what to bring, the superstar tells Fox 5 he and his friend from Florida, attorney Dan Newland, who provided the planes, taking things into his own hands, using ChatGPT to identify essential supplies and purchase them.
So we were just doing it guerrilla style, you know what I mean? And, we got, and a lot of the items were a hit, the tarps that we got, that was a major thing that they wanted, diapers for the kids.
Shaggy was able to secure several Starlink devices, which delivers fast satellite internet to remote areas so people could contact loved ones to let them know they were alive. The humanitarian, who has sold over 20 million records, has devoted half his career to charitable projects, is concerned about the psychological toll Hurricane Melissa is going to have on Jamaicans.
Just for the people themselves is the psychology, the psychological effect that it's going to have on them, and the emotional effect, and that mental. That's what I'm worried about, and I hope that is minimal.